Good morning, everybody. We're going to get started now. Thank you all very much for coming. My name is Andy Hurdle. I'm the manager of the Humber College Motorcycle Rider Training Program. I'm a chief instructor with the program and an avid motorcyclist with over 30 years of riding. I take motorcycle safety very seriously, both from a personal and a professional perspective. The event here today is a great opportunity for us to shed some focus and some light on motorcycles. We're starting to see them now, and we will over the coming weeks, coming out of hibernation in preparation of the spring and summer riding season. I want to thank all of the police services for being here, for your support, helping us stay safe on the roads, and certainly for your enthusiasm with the event today. Special thanks to our Vice President, Alistair Matheson, who is very encouraging and helped us to put this together. Andrew Leopold, the Director of Marketing, thank you for doing all the work with your team behind the scenes. And would like to give a special thanks to Toronto Police Officers Dal Gill and Derek Page. There's tons and tons of work that went on behind the scenes, and they're setting up some exercises outside, and you'll see that in a little while. Humber has been instrumental in motorcycle safety and rider training for the past 3 decades. We're committed to being there for the next number of years and seeing that people are safe out on the streets. We have a number of distinguished guests who you're going to meet, and they'll share a few words with you. And following the session this morning inside, I'm going to invite you outdoors where we can actually see some people riding motorcycles and have a little bit of fun. It is my pleasure right now to introduce to you Humber's President, Chris Whitaker.
Thank you very much, Andy. Good morning, everyone. Thank you very much for coming out here today for Motorcycle Awareness Safety Day. And my message is a simple one. I'm here to welcome people, but also the message that I want to leave you with, and hopefully you take away that safety generally is everybody's business. So that's why I'm really pleased to be here today and really delighted to see this initiative in terms of promoting motorcycle safety awareness. So as you know, at Humber, we teach beginning and experienced motorcyclists the skills they need to enjoy their vehicles and make sure they stay safe. Also, as Andy referenced, we work with a lot of individuals and different organizations to make sure that our students stay safe as well. And we depend on our partners, particularly as we've referenced and we see out in full force and presence today. We depend on our partners in the police services across the province, across the region, many of whom have joined us today, to monitor drivers on the street, to make sure all drivers in our communities remain safe. So we're very fortunate to work with the police services on safety issues, but in a number of initiatives across the campus and throughout the community, and we thank them for their support. Let's give them another round of applause. And safety is around the campus and extends out into the community. So it's also very important to remember that we depend on all of the community around us to be very careful that when they're out driving their cars in particular, because we are talking about motorcycle safety awareness today, obeying the traffic laws and being aware of who's on the road with them, on sharing the road. And it's a great reminder of those things today. And of course our students, and we welcome so many students, thousands of new students every year to Humber, and we trust that our students make good decisions while they're commuting to and from the campus or anytime they're in their vehicles or out in our parking lots. So with that, I know we've got a number of great events today. I'm looking forward to a very successful day today, and I want to thank you all for being here this morning to help us open this event. Thanks very much.
Thank you very much, Chris. Much appreciated. Next person I'd like to ask to speak to us is Superintendent Jones with Toronto Police Services.
Thank you and good morning. I'd just like to start this morning by bringing greetings on behalf of Chief Mark Saunders and the dedicated men and women of the Toronto Police Service. In addition, in my role as the co-chair of the CACP Traffic Committee and the OACP Traffic Committee, I'd like to acknowledge and remind everyone of the passion, and dedication of all traffic officers from across this great country who work tirelessly day in and day out as we move towards zero in making our roads the safest in the world. Today is turning out to be a nice, bright, sunny day, and spring is the traditional beginning of the motorcycle riding season. The sounds of the engines are music to every rider's ears, including mine this morning. Taking a motorcycle out today is a great idea, but in doing so, you must be aware that unfortunately today is the kind of day, bright and sunny, when you need to be at the top of your game. Statistically, today is the type of day that you are most likely to be involved in a fatal collision, regardless of if you are walking, cycling, driving, or operating a motorcycle. With the start of the riding season comes an increase in the number of sirens you hear attending collision scenes, where riders have suffered various degrees of injury, in some cases injuries that have resulted in their death. The likelihood of being involved in a collision increases dramatically because most drivers are unaware of the increase of motorcycle riders on the roads. Drivers have not adjusted their driving habits to account for the motorcycles rider who was not on the roads during the winter months. And as a result, those riders are put at greater risk. Since 1995, unfortunately, there have been 63 motorcycle-related fatalities in the City of Toronto. Many of these individuals left home with the expectation of getting to their destinations safely, but never made it. Of great concern to us in Toronto is the rise in motorcycle deaths year over year since 2009. Since 1995, 15 of the 63 motorcyclists who died on Toronto roads were under the age of 25. The age group with the highest rate of death is the 25 to 39-year-old age group, which comprised 37 of the 63 victims. And of note, all our motorcycle victims who died in fatalities were men. The question everyone asks me, how to reduce the number of deaths and injuries on our roads and making the roads safer for all riders. The answer is simple, it's training. Humber College has partnered with the Toronto Police Service and other regional police services that are here in the room today for this Motorcycle Safety and Awareness Day. Through continued learning and support for the motorcycle riding community, we all hope to make the roads safer for riders by giving riders the tools they need to safely manage constantly changing road and traffic conditions. This will, by design, help to reduce the deaths and injuries on our roads. This is especially important after a long winter and where most riders have not ridden a motorcycle since the fall. Riding skills are perishable. Riders are rusty and likely to make mistakes when they return to the roads for the first time. Do your part to make your commute the safest it can be. You owe it to yourself, your family, and your friends to obey all the rules of the road and constantly assess your skill level with the goal of reaching your destination safely every day that you take your motorcycle out. Finally, I'd like to remind all that driving in the province is not a privilege, or is a privilege, not a right. And with that privilege comes responsibility. I challenge all drivers in the province to do their part by making a good decision every time you operate a vehicle. That good decision may save someone's life, and that may be yours. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Superintendent Jones, and I can tell you personally, I'm going to accept your challenge, and I'm going to make every effort to make nothing but good decisions each and every time I'm on the road, and certainly encourage that of everybody around me. In my position as the manager of the training program, I speak to students daily, many students daily, and one of the biggest topics that comes up is insurance. And we've invited Myron Kipfer from Riders Plus Insurance, the general manager, to come and say a few words to us about that topic today. Myron?
Thanks, Andy. I'm pleased to be here to talk about the most popular subject that there is in motorcycle, which is insurance. As you probably know, the law is changing somewhat in Ontario as of June 1st. There'll be some tweaking going on. Of most interest to most of us, especially with motorcycle-related insurance, is the fact that accident benefits is going to be slightly streamlined, slightly reduced. Accident benefits is when you look at your declaration pages with your insurance policy, the most expensive portion of your insurance by far. That's the medical rehabilitation, the attendant care, income replacement, the things that happen when you get injured. Some people, when they get injured on a motorcycle accident, the costs are huge, absolutely huge. But the best way to bring those costs down isn't simply by cutting down the amount of money that's paid out. The best way is doing exactly the sort of thing that Andy, the Superintendent Jones, that all of your colleagues are doing in the training and the police services, which is setting an example, setting an attitude, getting into the practical aspect of safety. It's no secret. That's what brings down the insurance costs, is if everyone rides more safely, if everyone's aware, and especially if drivers out there as well are aware of motorcyclists, which was correctly pointed out, they don't notice yet. So, so this is a critical part of keeping insurance costs down. You'll see from our Facebook page, our Twitter, everything else, that's what we focus on, safe riding. And we work with the insurance companies as a broker to try to encourage more discounts for training of every level of training, not just the beginner training, but the kind of refresher training that comes up in the spring, and to reward people for safe riding. So the costs are still high, but with the help of all of our partners here, I think that we'll eventually bring them back into line. So thanks very much.
Thank you, Myron, and hopefully with all of the efforts of safe riding, we can bring insurance back to a 9-letter word instead of a 4-letter word. That'd be fantastic. Unfortunately, what we see mostly in the news is the bad stuff, the fatalities and the injuries, but there's a huge number of motorcycle riders who are very responsible and take safety and training very, very seriously. Representing a portion of that group today is Michael Freeman from the Yao Motorcycle Group. He's going to say a few words as well. Mr. Freeman?
Thank you, Andy. My name is Michael Freeman, and I'm a member of the executive of the Yao Motorcycle Club, which has about 100 members here in Toronto. Andy asked me to speak on rider training and group riding. So because of the short time, I'll focus on just 2 points: the individual and group riding. First, the individual motorcyclist and the motorcycle. Think of a line. On one end is the capability of the individual, and on the other end of the line is the capability of the motorcycle. For a novice, he's going to be at this end of the spectrum, and for, say, on the other hand, a racer, he's probably going to be at the other end of the spectrum. In other words, there's going to be a huge gap for the novice, and typically a fairly narrow gap for the racer. The racer is coming very close to the capability of the motorcycle. Training allows the motorcyclist to narrow that gap. It narrows the gap between the individual's capability and the motorcycle's capability. Training allows the individual to develop muscle memory, awareness, and sensitivity to how human inputs to the motorcycle affect the reaction of the motorcycle itself. Whether I do an organized course in the spring, or I just go out to an empty parking lot and just practice for an hour or two, usually slow speed maneuvers, I repeat this kind of training every spring so I can reacquaint myself with it. I think this is especially true as you age. Humber College has experienced instructors, and the Yao Motorcycle Club has run about, I think 6, maybe 8 past years of the pro motorcycle training course. And, you know, I've attended every one of them. I think everyone should do this. The second point I want to make is on group riding. Riding as a group is an entirely different protocol than riding as an individual. It's an entirely different protocol for the safety of the group and also for the motorists, the other motorists on the road. Most people don't understand this. So for groups, and especially the ride captain, they need to understand the protocols for things like consistent hand signals, speed, clearing intersections, passing, and keeping the group ride together. When I couldn't find a good guide for leading group rides, I did some research and picked little bits from here and there and other places, and I wrote one. And we trained about 60 of our YOW members to, in several 2-hour sessions. And it developed a consistency of our group leaders. That leading group rides is actually published. You can get it at www.yowmtc.com, and it's in the publications tab. And it picks from other authors. And so, those are my points. And all I can say is practice, practice, practice. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Michael. I think it's very clear that training, be it formal or informal, creates an attitude, and that's the key to the longevity of riding for quite a number of years. So that takes us to the end of our formal portion of the presentation. At 10:30, which is just in about 7 or 8 minutes, we're going to regroup or reconvene. We're going to go out these main doors over here to my right, to most of your left, and we'll just walk across the front of the glass building to a parking lot over there. A number of the police officers and our motorcycle instructors have some things set up, and we'll have a great opportunity to see the motorcycles riding, ask some questions, take some pictures, etc. So thank you all very, very much for attending. Look forward to seeing you out on the roads, and be safe. And just before we go out, I was just going to ask if our distinguished guests and all of the officers could stick around for a photo op, if you don't mind.